Welcome to another episode of Spotlight on Frazee. I'm your host, Hank Ludke, and I'm here today with Bob Backman from the River Keepers. Hi, Bob.
Well, it's great to be here, Hank. Anytime you throw a party, I'll be here.
You're a good man. I'm glad you say that. You know, it was a lot different this winter when you came down. It was 25 below or 30 below, and we had 75 people here that actually showed up in the frozen tundra at that time.
Well, part of the reason they came, Hank, was because of the good party you throw. But the other reason they came down was to learn more about this wonderful Ottertail River. And it's truly a gem in this part of Minnesota. And we're just so excited that there are lots of people who are thrilled to know that we're going to be seeing more recreational opportunities occurring with this wonderful river.
Well, I know it's a great deal for Frazee, and it's a great deal for the whole region. You know, we have 3 different counties involved in this, and it's going to be spectacular. The turnout today is just phenomenal, especially considering it's Thursday.
Well, that's right. Now, I don't know if the pizza has anything to do with it, but maybe not. The thing, Hank, that this river is unique in many ways, and I think many of these people recognize that. Earlier today, we were talking about the logging industry, and if you paddle this river, you'll still see logs on the bottom that were left from 100 years ago. Just fabulous history that's around here. People truly are blessed to be able to live here.
Well, I'm happy to be here, you know, and it's just been great. And this way, we look at this, you know, it's just the first trail that we want to see here at Frazee. You know, like I said, we're working on the North Country Trail.
That's right.
And the Heartland Extension.
That's right.
But you guys are the first ones. You beat them to the punch.
Well, we've been working with Red River Trail and Red River Water Trail, and that was designated about 6 years ago. And we're glad that the Ottertail feeds into the Red River and helps make it the mighty Red River of the North. You're
right. And at one time, this was known as the Little Red.
That's right. The Ottertail River had its name changed from the Red River to the Ottertail a while ago. And when people pick up the Ottertail map, they will see a postcard that shows a picture of this river, but it's labeled Red River.
That's interesting, you know, and it's really nice to see that after 25 years in the making that, you know, we've been able to get this, you know. But, you know, this was just one of those studies that West Min and the DNR do, and they do a lot of studies, and sometimes it just takes that little dust off the shelf and somebody to say, well, why don't we just do it?
Well, it takes a few studies, that's right, Hank, but what it really takes is people like you that are saying, let's get the dust off and let's enact these plans. And that's what we're seeing right here. This river has been talked about getting a designation for over 25 years, and you are one of the folks that helped make it possible. We have a designation, we've got the map, there is a plan, it's on the top of the pile at the DNR, and we're seeing results.
Yes, and we'll be looking for more money from the DNR next year, you know, because right now we've had last week we had the MCC crew on doing the Minnesota Conservation Corps working on the portages and some of the water access. Next year we're going to be working on camping, signage, and more areas where people will be able to pull off and enjoy themselves and come to Frazee and all the other little towns along the river and meet the great people that make up what I like to think of as greater Minnesota.
That's right. This area truly has wonderful folks, and as much as we like those folks, though, we would suggest that people who paddle this river, the section that we just paddled, we were on it for over 4 hours, we only saw one person. So if you do happen to live in a metropolitan area and you don't want to see quite as many wonderful people, you certainly should come on down to an easy paddling river like the Ottertail, get on it. You can go down. Like I said, 4 hours, we didn't see a person. What we did see was wonderful, wonderful wildlife. Saw a trumpeter swan, some ducks, beaver. We did see, of course, some native flowers. We saw some wild raspberries. We were a little concerned when we saw a turkey vulture circling. My partner was fading a little bit as we were paddling. We weren't sure if that vulture was looking at him or maybe just looking at a dead fish on the shore. I'm not sure, but
Well, I thank you, Bob. I really appreciate you doing this interview for us on Spotlight on Frazee, and I appreciate all your work and you and the other captains of the Red for coming down here.
Well, anytime you throw a party, Hank, we'll be here. Don't worry. We'll be here, especially if it's by this wonderful river.
All right. Thank you, Bob. And with that, we'll be right back with another segment of Spotlight on Frazee. Welcome back to Spotlight on Frazee. I'm your host, Hank Ledke, and we're here once again at beautiful downtown Frazee at Riverside Park, overlooking the Otter Tail River, the latest Minnesota State water trail. I'm here with Ike Fisher. Howdy, Ike.
Howdy, Hank.
It's great to see Ike here, because without Ike in the DNR and West Min Resource Conservation and Development out of Alexandria 25, 26 years ago,
About that.
we wouldn't have this happening.
No, at that time, the DNR drew up this beautiful map of the Otter Tail from Elbow Lake all the way down to Fergus Falls, where it joined the Bois de Sioux to make the Red River. And each page was a different segment of the river, and it was just a beautiful planning. And then they held hearings, and all of the so-called residents along the river complained that they didn't want to put up with all the noise, and pick up all the refuse that canoers would be leaving along the river. And so there was so much opposition and so few people for it that the whole thing was shelved up until now.
That's great, you know, and I wouldn't have ever known about it if you wouldn't have brought it to me, Ike, after I got elected.
Well, I was on the county park board at the time, and you know, some of the residents along the river that complained at the meetings when I told them that these people with canoes didn't carry along old washing machines and barbed wire fences and auto bodies to throw in the river like the residents did.
Well, I understand that. You know, I know there's one dump that we need to clean up south of here that I ran into close to the state rest area. Yeah,
I just talked. There was 4 people, 2 boys and 2 girls from the Conservation Corps, I guess they call it, Minnesota. At this time came out to clean up a portion of the river, and they've been cleaning out quite a bit of it, and they said, yes, every little ways along the river there's a ravine washed down the side of the river full of old junk that should be cleaned up.
And I think that's what we're going to do. You know, we can use our FFA and our scouts to help us with this, you know, and bring up the next generation right.
Yep, and giving you something to be proud of and a good, healthy exercise environment to live with.
Well, I want to really appreciate you for being on TV3. Well, you're a good man. Without you, this wouldn't be going on.
And same with you.
And with that, we'll catch you next week on Spotlight on Frazee.